Hey everyone, it's Types, and today we're talking about the post-rotation metagame in the Pokemon TCG. Except we are not talking about the deck that's in S tier here on this tier list. This is, by the way, on Pokecop Book, the current metagame by play rates of the top 16 of, I believe, City League tournaments, which you could actually find on Limitless, which is on Limitless. There we go. Definitely didn't mess up the tabs there, but you can see what's winning, and this has the top 16. These are generally 64%. So this is the metagame of the decent decks, but you definitely find some weird and honestly really fun stuff there. They were looking at the metagame and kind of talking about just what's interesting and good. And if these decks are actually legit. This isn't a tier list video or a ranking, more so just a talk about the decks. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on all these different decks in the comment section as well. I'll actually go through all these decks here in B tier on Pokecop Book. At the development of the metagame, we see that obviously Dragapult's being really good, right? Dragapult is super good. I was talking with a friend, and they were saying oh, I want to play regular Lucario, but it's washed. And I was like, maybe it's not washed. Maybe Dragapult is just super broken. And Lucario is okay. I mean, it's still the third deck here, right? That's not that bad. That's pretty good actually. But anyways, obviously Dragapult's gone up, other decks have gone down. We see some of these lower decks here falling out, Flareon and Okidogi. We got some decks coming up here. And yeah, there are definitely some interesting decks. Arboliva definitely is one of the most interesting decks in my opinion. And then looking at, where is it? Here's the play rates of stuff. There are some other decks, right? But most of it is we're just gonna talk about these decks in this 3 to 7% range there of plays, and I'm just gonna kind of go down. And we'll start with Raging Bolt. Raging Bolt, I think this is probably Raging Bolt, right? Yes. Oh no, that's not Raging Bolt. Let's see, is this Raging Bolt? Yeah, that is Raging Bolt. I was looking. Obviously, this is Raging Bolt. It has a picture of Raging Bolt. But Ogrepon Box is being played with Raging Bolt, but it's being played with other stuff as well. So we'll kind of talk about that. There's Raging Bolt, which is playing Ogrepon Box. It is always playing that. But then there's Ogrepon with some other things like Arboliva, which I mentioned there. But Raging Bolt EX, if you're not familiar, you get Bellowing Thunder, you do discarding mana basic energies from your board, you do 70 for each card discard in this way. This allows you to obviously do big damage, right? That's the whole thing. Ultimately, big damage isn't something that we're seeing it from some decks, but there's a lot of decks that aren't really able to take one shots super easily. Raging Bolt can struggle. With rotation, it is losing Professor Saw's Vitality, and I do think that is a big deal. It is both better energy acceleration than Crispin in terms of the fact that it can get 2 energies instead of 1. It is from the discard, but getting Crispin in the discard isn't too bad. So it is something that might be a little difficult to do early on in Loss of Earth and Vessel, as well as Squawkability EX. So Crispin definitely is nice for getting the energies there in the early game, but then late game it's essentially a bigger issue. You could even run out of energies. And then on top of that, we also see that Professor Saw's Vitality draws you cards, which is also really good, right? Drawing cards is important, and with Crispin, that doesn't really draw you cards. I guess it kind of gets cards for your deck into your hand. I mean, it does. It gets 2, but they're just basic energies, which is fine. But yeah, it's just okay. I think part of the idea is that Crispin gets the energy into your hand. Of course, you're playing, as I said, Teal Ogrepon Box, accelerating grass energy from your hand to it, then drawing yourself a card. And you can use that with Crispin. So the fact that it only accelerates 1 instead of 2 isn't a huge deal, I guess. But you're relying on Ogrepon as well for the energies and draw. And it definitely seems a little scary there. Also, Grass Weakness is kind of cool. There's a few types I've seen play. What is it? We got Dragon, Grass, Darkness, Psychic, Fighting. Yeah, so those are the 5 types seeing play, really. That's kind of the weakness. I believe the Darkness decks are all weak to Grass that are seeing play. I actually have no idea what Honchcrow is weak to, but that doesn't matter. But yeah, definitely interesting being able to hit some of those warm tier 2 decks for or tier 3 as they're shown here for weakness. That is nice with Teal Ogrepon EX, but I feel like attacking with Ogrepon is also kind of bad. I guess you could use Crispin to power it up in 1 turn, but obviously Crispin gets 2 different types of energy. You need just 1 type of energy there, right? So anyways, I think that you are able to do some big damage. As I said, I do think Sada's is a huge loss. I'm definitely a huge fan of Sada's as a card. I actually don't play it that much. I don't play ancient stuff that much. I don't really expect myself to be playing Raging Bolt that much, to be honest. Okay, being completely honest, I do enjoy playing Dragapult, and I think I'll be mostly playing that deck because it's good, as well as some other fun stuff, certainly. But yeah, Raging Bolt here. It is also like it's it's not really supposed to be tanky, but as a basic, it's kind of tanky. You are losing like the ways to increase its HP, so you can't really do that there. But you are able to ideally tank hits with not having weakness, but of course, Lucario EX is floating around. I mean, we see it in this stack. And it is useful, obviously, against Dragapult EX. We'll see different Dragapult counters. None of them are amazing. They're like kind of all kind of meh. I mean, if they were amazing, the Dragapult wouldn't be like super, super crazy good. But yeah, we see that here. It's like kind of half committed to. Also, there is no more Mew EX, so you can't use Lucario EX plus Mew EX without Psychic Energy. I don't think there's really a Psychic counter that's like colorless attack costs with Psychic, being a Psychic type, obviously allowing you to hit weakness there with Lucario EX. But anyways, you will get caught with that as well. We also see 3 Meowth EXs, and we see something that's really interesting in my opinion, which is Era Zero Underdaps, which we see even in Dragapult some. Expanding your bench, Meowth EX, let me scroll up a tiny bit here. It's got, I don't know if you can see the Super Bowl, it's got 170 HP. That's low. I was talking about Raging Bolt being kind of tanky. Ogrepon's kind of like meh, and that's, the HP of a lot of these EXs. Then we see, or Raging Bolt, EX is tanky, I should say. There was a single prize Raging Bolt here, which doesn't really hurt your prize trade much. I mean, your opponent could be playing Crispin, which there's not really too much you can do about, but anyways, you do have Chimpow to bump the stadium and then allow you to bump your Meowth EXs. You can recover them. The deck plays like not really much recovery, which is probably fine. It's a pretty straightforward linear deck, to be honest. Just running a bunch of basics. And obviously you just power it up and do big damage. With Raging Bolt. You do make Honchcrow X as well, which is obviously pretty tanky there. And it does obviously offer you draw. I'm not really I don't love the draw package here. I guess Meowth EX gets you the supporters you need. It is a Cyrano deck as well. Cyrano is seeing a lot of play with like Meowth EX, Mega Kangaskhan EX, Latias EX, and then we also see Teamos Ogrepon EX in this deck, which I'll allow you to kind of draw cards / get this engine going. But it's not super powerful. It's drawing you a few cards every turn, which is like cool, I guess. But it's not, as I said, not some like true powerhouse there. In Fezandip EX. Fezandip EX is also very, very good. Also see Cyberbanus Code Breaking, which I think we'll see in some other decks as well, putting 2 cards on top of your deck. Again, obviously works with Mega Kangaskhan EX as well as other things like that, that just, draw you cards off the top of your deck, which is a bunch of things, but you need to kind of already be set up to some extent. And then, I don't know, I just don't really like Cyberbanus Code Breaking. We do see 2 Judge, which is interesting as well as Disruption. I think it's like fine. I don't know. I mean, I think Disruption is obviously we are losing Iono, which is why we're seeing Judge. We'll see Judge as well as like Unfair Stamp, which I imagine will be the ace back in most of these decks here. But we see that because we're losing Iono. But I don't know. I feel like the hand Disruption is like fine. It can theoretically like get your opponent out of boss for game. But I think a lot of decks have like decent draw engines, point where they can kind of get out of it. There are some people who are thinking Alakazam would be crazy. It's certainly not proven to be that. And I don't think it really has to do with hand disruption. I think it has to do with Dragapult, but or maybe not. Maybe I think it has to do with Alakazam actually being, we'll get to that. But ultimately, Raging Bolt's kind of interesting. I just am not a full believer in the deck. So we'll see exactly how good it is. As I said, it's Dragapult's super good. Raging Bolt is like the play. It's the number 2 deck at a 6% like play rate here. Looking online, we see where is it? That 6% is like the same as like say Zoroark. Now, I mean, I'm honestly not that familiar with this, and I haven't played that much Ascended Tiers. I imagine Zoroark's being overplayed some. But 6% is like something, but it's not super high there. But it's an all right deck. Moving down to like the 3% area, I'd say the 6 to 3% is like this. I mean, it's grouped here as this B tier, tier 3. So it's okay, but make no mistake, it's not like super powerful despite being the second deck. Then we have the next deck, which is Mega Lucario. Mega Lucario isn't like winning that many tournaments, I guess. Let me see if I can find a list here that won. Here we go. I think I just saw it. Here we go. Here's one. running Mega Lucario. I mean, honestly, this deck's pretty similar to what it looks like in standard. Um, losing. I'm not actually okay. To be honest, I'm not super familiar with the deck in standard because it's like it's kind of meh. It doesn't really like get. I mean, it gets like some stuff. I guess. I guess also Meowth EX. And honestly, a lot of the support Pokemon are weak to fighting, so that's good. But Meowth EX is a new support card. You can actually like knock it out without hitting it for weakness like pretty commonly. So hitting it for weakness is just like fine. Also, Solrock doesn't hit for weakness if you didn't know that. So a Premium Power Pro on the Solrock does not knock it out. Not knock out Meowth EX because there's no weakness being applied there. But yeah, Premium Power Pro, Fighting Gong, very good cards. Balloon Tone, just three amazing cards. I've said this a lot, and I think it's most people can agree that fighting has some amazing support. Mega Lucario EX itself though is kind of meh. Like in some sense, it does big damage. It can one shot these two prize basics quite easily for two fighting there. You can target them down with Hariyama and Boss's Orders for gusting, which is nice. And being able to use Hariyama means you can play like Laser Determination or Judge, or even we see Wild's Combustion. We also see Sophomaniacs Code Breaking. I don't think that's. I mean, I was just talking about it, but I don't really quite love it here. But then in order to like knock out something like say a Dragapult, you'll need Premium Power Pros, Gravity Mountain, Maximum Belt, things like this, which are like a little sketchy to do. They're not super hard, but also, then you're knocking out a two prizer and you're a three prizer, so you're trading like okay, I guess. But then also I mentioned Lotus Clefairy EX. Lotus Clefairy EX can one shot you. I'm pretty sure it'll one shot you pretty easily. Wait, how many Pokemon does it need in play? It needs to be doing 360, which is I can't. That's 8 Pokemon on the bench. So yeah, you'll presumably have 3 at least. So yeah, you're going to be getting knocked out by that. That's like bad. Theoretically, if you can use Wise Compassion well, I think that could be powerful, but I don't really see that happening that often. And yeah, I mean, Mega Lucario seems fine. I don't know. I mean, the card is kind of mad. The acceleration is like, okay, you could accelerate to Hariyama, which is kind of cool, and maintain a board of energies a bit better. Mega Brave is like a fine attack. It's an okay card, but I just don't quite see it there. I just think it's not super versatile and it's not super powerful. So you're just sitting there being like, what is this? What is the deck? What is the strength of this deck? It's not doing the crazy spread of some of the other decks. It's a single prizer. It's a three prizer. And I guess it's stable. But yeah, I'd say it's more of like a safe, stable deck, but it's not a super like powerful deck. I mean, you can one shot anything with Premium Power Pros. I actually was playing live the other day, and they I remember what I was playing, but they like one shotted I don't remember, but they played like my opponent just like played 4 Premium Power Pros and just like one shot at something, which is kind of funny. I don't even know if they won or lost. They were like super behind, and then I think it's like knockout. It was really funny. I guess I wasn't even paying that much attention. All of a sudden, I was like knocked out. But anyways, you can do stuff like that. You probably won't, and obviously you can only do that once, right? So it has some powerful cards. Fighting Gong is amazing for consistency. Funnily enough, it's not like super necessary. I mean, it's very good, right? But you do have Ultra Ball and Pokepad, which are both pretty good. I guess just those aren't really enough. But yeah, Fighting Gong is very powerful. And then Premium Power Pro is very powerful. And Lunatone, I think people know Lunatone's power the most. But yeah, definitely a cool deck with some cool stuff around it. But I mean, as I said, it's not really getting new pieces, and currently in standard, it's kind of meh. Let's pull up Team Rockets. I actually don't know what Pokemon's representing it here. I imagine it's White Ops. Yeah, okay. So here's a list here. Looking at Team Rockets. You do have Team Rockets Articuno. Team Rockets Articuno is super nice. If you don't know what this card does, which I think some people don't. Exactly. What it does is it says prevents all effects of attacks used by your opponent's Pokemon done to your basic Team Rockets Pokemon. So this is going to protect you from effects of attacks like Dragapult EX's damage counters. It actually like super obliterates Alakazam as well. Like Alakazam cannot beat this like essentially at all. So that's the thing there. And then on top of that, you also you're immune to anything else that you're immune to that's like super meaningful. I guess you can't be sob blocked, so that's like a thing. And pretty sure you're still get hit by Arboliva, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, anyways, it's like it is very useful, or it is really nice against dragapult, protecting your bench in just like a really, really solid, efficient way there. But it does not protect your evolutions, right? So you're going to be playing Team Rocket Spite Ops, which accelerates to itself and is a nice attacker, doing essentially 180 for saying free is not like quite right, but it is quite cheap. And then, oh, you do also have Team Rocket's Mimikyu and Lotus Clefairy EX. I will say then you are playing not a Team Rocket's Pokemon, and then you are, not getting the full value out of some of the Team Rocket stuff, like Team Rocket's Ariana and was it Team Rocket's Archer, I think. Um, and then and theoretically, Team Rocket's Giovanni, but probably you'll be fine there. But ultimately, that is good against Dragapult. I think the deck, I like it against Dragapult, having that bench protection, having Team Rocket's Mimikyu, which is just going to like super obliterate them. I mean, it's like, it's their attack. It one-shots them, blows Clefairy EX in play, and it's cheap. It's one attachment. If you are able to use Team Rocket's energy, it does play a energy switch as well. I will say, I think Team Rocket's Petrol's maybe a little underrated in the deck, but I don't know. And then you're also able to, just stop them, right? You stop them, you beat them up. That seems super good. Team Rocket's Spite Ops hitting for weakness, as I said, against a few decks is really nice. Team Rocket's B2EX also hits for weakness there. And is the one of the tankiest Pokemon ever, just like kind of randomly. Its attack isn't super good, like Mega Lucario, EX has got great support and is super mid. Theoretically doing 280, which is like good, I guess, but it's a bunch of energy there. Team Rocket Spite Ops, or Spite Ops itself as well is also kind of meh. It doesn't do that much damage. Yes, it's like cheap / free essentially, and it's a decent card. It's by no means a bad card, but it's not like, it's relying on it. It is like it's kind of meh. It's like attacking with like Hariyama and Soul Rock and fighting. Like, yeah, sure, they're like fine cards. But that's like not, the reason they're good. Team Rocket Spite Ops almost has to take on that role of being this like very like main attacker on top of being this way to get Team Rocket's Mewtwo EX set up there. But yeah, as I said, I quite like the position of this deck. Because it's able to really, I think, beat up on a Dragapult. Theoretically, they could like set up before you, I guess. But like the deck's package is really powerful. Team Rex Transceiver, along with 5 very good supporters. In the Team Rockets package as well, Team Rockets Factory is really good. Taking big one shots can be a little difficult. We see like Maximum Bell, which can be useful, but again, you're needing a bunch of pieces there. The deck also doesn't really have an onboard draw engine, so I guess I'll talk about while we're at it. I'll talk about where is it here? Team Rocket's Honchcrow. Team Rocket's Honchcrow, I got a friend who's been playing this deck. And I played it some, and I've seen it played, and it can be really good, and it can fall apart. You don't really have an onboard draw engine either here. Then what you want to do is, get your supporters, do big damage, and use your supporters to do powerful stuff. And you have a lot of supporters and outs to those supporters, but you're not always going to get them. Also here, you do need the special energies, which can be awkward to hit at times, though it's not, I don't think, super terrible. I guess this deck's also pretty similar to Alakazam, where you can also miss the energies, but getting Team Rocket's energy is something that in the Team Rockets deck can be hard to do. The when I say Team Rockets, I'm talking about Team Rockets, Spite Ops, and Mewtwo. Versus when I say like Honchcrow, or that's Team Rockets Honchcrow, right? But that's generally what people say. I'm pretty sure people generally refer to this deck as the Team Rockets deck, even though they are both Team Rockets. But yeah, you're able to do like some powerful stuff without Team Rocket's energy. Like you can do your stuff, but it's going to be a little difficult, and there's no way to search it out, right? Team Rocket's energy, same thing with Ignition. Ignition is the only way to attack with Team Rocket's Porygon Z. Or Team Rocket's Porygon 2, I mean. I actually do think Team Rocket's Porygon Z is potentially nice in the deck, adding more stability to the deck as this like not a good draw card, but it can allow you to finish games easier and do some useful stuff, though it isn't like super good or anything like that. It's not a very good card. The Team Rocket's Porygon line is honestly not very good, because it's just not, right? Like Team Rocket's Honchcrow is the powerful Team Rocket's Pokemon. I guess Team Rocket's Articuno is good with this ability. Team Rocket's Mimikyu, I guess, is also good, but that's like situational. Team Rocket's Spite Ops is like kinda good, but if you put into too main of a role, it can kind of struggle there. It's kind of like Naganadel. It has the same ability and name as Naganadel from Lost Thunder or something. I don't know. With with the same ability and like an all right attack, but it's not something you can like truly build around. Something you can get good value out of, but if you have it as the main role, then it will struggle there. That's what Team Rocket's Play Ops is. But Team Rocket's Honchcrow is very powerful. It does require like a lot of like all-in setup. As I said, like Alakazam, which I'll talk about here as well. Alakazam is a deck. So looking at the play rates, the Honchcrow is lower. Alakazam's like around here. Alakazam is in the wonderful spot. When I say wonderful, I mean like not wonderful. It's psychic and it like doesn't hit dragapult for weakness with those Clefairy EX because it does damage counter. So it also is vulnerable on the bench. You need to kind of use like Battle Cage. You also have like Psyduck and Shaman. Psyduck and Shaman are like decent cards. But they have the pretty big issue of like taking up bench space. Bench space is kind of an issue with the deck. You also see Genesect. Genesect is interesting. I guess I haven't even thought about that. I don't know if this is commonly played in the deck, but it's a card that allows you to counter ace backs, namely Unfair Stamp, which is good. Unfair Stamp is probably a pain for you, but I'd probably rather play against Unfair Stamp than Iono. Unfair Stamp, one thing it does is sort of really nasty to deal with, which I imagine is like in oh yeah, this one plays Miracle Headset. This one plays Maximum Bell, but Unfair Stamp is floating around a lot. And with that card, it really puts you down to a really sketchy situation, potentially very early on. That's not really a huge issue for Alakazam. I mean, it's not like great getting hit by hand disruption. It's bad. But if you're hit by hand disruption, you are still able to, get out of it. You can have a board in which you have Pokemon ready to evolve to draw you cards. But on top of that, because you need to actually get those cards, you can have the Dunsparce, and you can have like theoretically multiple or even just one Dunsparce sitting on your board, which is such an extra Fizz and DEX you can use when you really need it, right? People like to play the Dunsparce. This is just like, oh, I'm going to use it as soon as I get it. But that can be very bad. Or I don't know if very bad, but it's like just kind of meh. The reasoning for that is actually, which I've kind of talked about, the Dunsparce is going to net you one card, right? You play the Dunsparce, and then you draw. So you spend 2 cards to get 3 cards. Yes, something like, say, Dracoloak is spending 2 cards to get 1 card. That being said, you can use it over and over again, and you're kind of aiming for these longer games, and then, that's kind of cool there, and that's some value to Dunsparce. It is good, though, because you can kind of use it when you want it. You can also pair it with Ignition Energy, Enriching Energy. I guess you could pair it with Ignition Energy. But yeah, with the Enriching Energy, you get to, draw a bunch of cards there, which is nice. That being said, it is your attachment for the turn. The deck doesn't just have these like random extra attachments. So you need to use Wondrous Patch. Then you're spending more resources to use Enriching Energy there, which is kind of meh. So there's a lot of like moving pieces in the deck. It's kind of fragile. It is like Honchcrow. I do think that that Alakazam and Honchcrow play quite similarly. I do like Honchcrow. I guess I like Honchcrow more. I don't know. I don't like hate Alakazam or anything. I think it's like fun and cool and whatever. I think it's all right. There are just like some people who are just like think Alakazam's like actually broken. Like it's not that good. I mean in standard right now it's not that good. In post rotation, I mean, against Dragapult, it just like isn't very happy. Yes, there are things you can do about it, but I don't know. I mean, whenever I play Dragapult, I like want to see Alakazam. It's my favorite matchup. Because you just kind of stop them from playing the game. But yeah, I mean, ultimately, the deck is it can do big damage, right? I haven't like really said that. You get a bunch of cards in your hand, you do big damage, which is good, right? I am not going to sit here and deny that. But you can also like not do that. If you kind of get beaten up at an early point in the game, your opponent kind of like takes an advantage tempo wise, like knocking out a basic turn 1, kind of picking away at you. Say like against fighting, then they're just kind of picking away at you. They can use single prizers, and then doing that, they can like force a defense and dipty and knock that out. So I don't know. I just am not really a full believer in the deck. As with most of these decks, right? I don't think it's like super bad. I've kind of talked about its issues. It's okay. It can do some really fun stuff, but it can definitely like fall apart. I would say Honchcrow can kind of fall apart. I mean, you have energy issues with the deck. In a similar way, I guess this deck is drawing more cards. Like Team Rocket's Honchcrow isn't drawing that many cards. It doesn't need as many cards, right? Alakazam needs a lot of cards, but you should be able to find the energy there. And I guess you got Hilda as well, and Telepathic Energy. I do think that card is really awesome. In this deck, it's just like fine. It's a nice little addition. I think it's an amazing card and a similar caliber to like the fighting support cards, which are really amazing. But I don't think this is a deck that really makes this card, Televised Psychic Energy, like stand out as this like truly amazing piece, but it is good. It is. Um, and then yeah, there's not too much. I mean, there's stuff that I said, but ultimately it's pretty straightforward as a deck. And we have Marnie's, which I haven't talked about. Marnie's is fine. I think it's in a pretty similar place. We look at it here. Um, yeah, Munkidori Frostlass, pretty good. Guess I'll mention Patrat. Patrat's coming out in Chaos Rising and is bad for this stack. Presumably, I mean, it stops your Munkidori's. So I'll mention that, but it's not even out. Munkidori is very good against Dragapult. If you can fit into a deck, obviously it fits very easily and is a very important part of the stack. There's Battle Cage, right, which is like kind of a pain for the deck, but whatever. You run Spike with Gym. Spike with Gym is like super good, or pretty good. It's pretty good. As a card with it also acts as like a free stadium buff. I wouldn't say being a stadium is why it's played, but it is a stadium. It's like an item that is a stadium, which in some sense is worse because you can't play two, but presumably you don't need to do that. And then yeah, I mean Frostlass and Munkidori are quite nice for picking away at bench Pokemon. You don't have Team Devo, which is like a bit of a pain, but I don't think it's too big of an issue in my opinion. And then, yeah, I mean, ultimately the deck's doing pretty similar things it's doing to pre-rotation, and I think it's almost maybe a little underrated. I don't think in current standard it's super good, but I think it's one of the best decks that isn't rotating. Not in that top tier of decks, which is mostly Dragapult, but I do think it is pretty good and a little underrated. So I think people are overthinking a little. I think it's fine. There was some weakness stuff. I'm not super concerned about that, to be honest. Grass can do some cool stuff, but I don't think it's some like crazy powerhouse that you should be super worried about. And then, yeah, I mean, ultimately you can do like decent damage. Most decks aren't like super powerful and aggressive and going to outspeed you because you are a bit of a slower deck. And sometimes you are just a bit of a worse Dragapult, less stability on board. I don't know. I guess you're pretty linear. Honestly, I think the deck has a lot of similarities to Dragapult. Obviously, you're just doing active damage and bench damage, but you don't need to be as worried about the energy, but you don't have the other upsides of doing more damage, more versatility, stuff like that. But, still a pretty cool and pretty decent deck, honestly. Then we got Ogrepon Box. Ogrepon Box is definitely one of the decks. Where is this deck? Here it is. That I'm not super familiar with. Running the two Ogrepons, Grass one, the Water one. I'm making kind of County X, Clefairy EX. This is like Ogrepon Clefairy. I play this deck some. I haven't played it too much. Six Machinations. Okay. Well, I guess I won't talk about that. But yeah, you got the Cyrano thing. I'm not a huge fan of Cyrano. This is kind of like Absol Box. Absol Box isn't really seeing that much play, but it's got a lot of similarities. You got the energy switches to power yourself up. Mega Cognax is still a good Pokemon. Also, Ponyx can do some really nasty things. You can get yourself going pretty quickly, though you do need to kind of, I don't know if luck into it, but that's kind of how I describe it. Got the fun Air Zero Under Adaptation POW stuff there. Checking your board, which is kind of nice. And yeah, I think the deck's kind of cool. As it's like Mega Absol Box. Honestly, Mega Absol, let's be honest, isn't that good of a card. It's okay. But using this, like Mega Kangaskhan is pretty good card. Definitely, I think the best Mega, unless I'm forgetting something. I mean, it's the one that we've seen the most in this video. Yes, Mega Lucario has its own deck, but this is like Kangaskhan's in a lot of decks. But I think this Porter lineup is kind of sketchy. Same thing with Mega Absol. It's just not really my style of deck. This like big basic deck with moderate upside and like moderate utility. Like you're not swinging for crazy damage here. I mean, technically you can hit infinite damage with Mega Kangaskhan, but realistically you're doing like okay damage. You're like moderately tanky, I guess, but you're not like healing. I mean, you're not pennying because that's rotated. And then yeah, the deck just seems like kind of fine. Kind of cool. I might play this deck. We'll see. As I said, I'm not a big fan of some of the choices of the deck. Not that like Cyrano is a bad card that I mean, I think it's a cool card. I'm just, hoping for a slightly better piece. I don't know. I mean, the pieces in the deck, I talked about the package in the first deck in Raging Bolt, with the Cyrano, draw Pokemon there. But or search Pokemon. There's a lot of different things there. But the cards in that deck plays good cards in terms of Pokemon, and building around those is good. Playing good cards generally will make a good deck. If you put random good cards together, won't necessarily do that, but playing good cards is good. Applying pressure with Water Ogrepon is good. I'm a little worried about the speed, if you'll be able to get up quite fast enough and be able to like keep doing it quite enough. But I think you might be able to with Crispins and Grass Ogrepon Energy Switch there. So definitely a cool little deck here that I'm interested in seeing if it will be good. Is that it's like Megapsol, you could put in some other options as well, mix things up. Blue is very obviously good as well against, against Dragapult, I guess also Raging Bolt, to some extent, and then on top of that, it's also good against my Lucario, especially with Air Zero under depth. So you just like pop that in play and get the damage yourself there if you need to. I guess not that I think you do, but you can. So that's kind of fun. Yeah, then we got, I guess I'll talk Arboliva now. Arboliva is not a deck I'm very familiar with, to be honest. I don't think too many people are. Definitely a deck that kind of came out of nowhere. Got Teal Ogrepon EX, Arboliva EX. Arboliva EX does some spread damage. It's kind of cool. Kind of like Water Ogrepon. You got Meganium and then like Ogrepon as well. It's like a weird deck. It's like Ogrepon, but then it also runs Arboliva. Which I feel like Arboliva just isn't a very powerful card. I don't know. I'm really interested in hearing people's thoughts on this deck in the comment section. Out of all of them, definitely one of the ones I'm least familiar with. I haven't played in the format, so there's some amount of knowledge I lack on some of these on a lot of the decks, but like I know I'm all right. This is a deck that I should probably try to play it, right? But yeah, I don't know. The synergy just seems kind of bad. I don't think this deck's actually good. I think Grass Ogerpon's good. I think Meganium's fine. Like Meganium Grass Ogerpon is okay. It's not as setup heavy as like Mega Meganium or like Mega Venusaur, which have like a similar amount of upside, in my opinion, to just the Grass Ogerpon with Meganium, with more setup there. The Arboliva EX seems kind of meh. Seems like a worse Water Ogrepon, I guess. I mean, I don't know. I don't know, but it doesn't seem super good. But it seems interesting. So yeah, there's that. I wish I could offer better analysis. Now, at some point I will, once I start playing with this deck. But yeah, definitely it's something. And then we got next stack, which I skipped over, which is Ends. I think Ends is fine. I think it's also, where is it? A deck being overthought somewhere on Earth is Enzork. Is it here? Surely. Oh wait, it's actually just at the bottom. Okay, well, yeah, I mean, Enzekrom is a good card. I've kind of not talked about too much on the channel, but it is a good card. You're not losing Toonies, I don't think. Could be forgetting something, but yeah, I mean, you got some different things that are pretty good. I will say, I saw someone playing with the Ends supporter, the bad one, Anthena and Concordia or whatever. And it worked a lot better than I was expecting. Not that it was like super good, but it was okay. But anyways, yeah, you have Zoric EX here. Obviously a pretty good card. Overall the deck is fine. It's meh. It doesn't have like amazing upside. Theoretically, you have some nasty snipe and damage stuff you can do, but is that gonna happen? Probably not. And then yeah. But the deck plays some good cards. It can do some fun stuff. It's a decent deck. I think people are maybe overthinking a little, and it's a little underrated, but I don't have too much to say about it right now. Then we have the last two decks, which are two decks. Got Mega Venusaur. I guess I just talked about it and said it's kind of bad, which I think it is. I think it's a little worse than. I mean, I think Meganium and Ogrepon do a lot of heavy lifting and are good cards. I think Meganium is a fine card, and pairing. I mean, Teal Mask Ogrepon EX is a good card, and it's pretty much Teal Mask Ogrepon EX the deck. Mega Meganium is very tanky, which is cool, but you're not being hit for that much damage anyway, so being a little tanky isn't actually that useful. You can heal with Wild's Compassion, but your draw is like super sketchy. I've played with this deck a little, but I played against it a lot, and it's a pretty sketchy deck. You can definitely whiff a lot. If you set up, you can kind of just like roll over your opponent, but that's not happening all the time. And then the last deck is Cynthia's. I love Cynthia's. I think it's cool. Wait, is it under C or G? I think it's under G actually. But is anyone playing it? I can't spell. No. Okay. Oh yes, one person played it. So yeah, I mean Cynthia's is cool. Obviously the fighting stuff's powerful. There's not really too much going on with this deck, but I do think it is a cool deck, a fun deck, a powerful deck. I don't know if I'd say people are sleeping on it, but I'd say maybe a little. Kind of fun. Obviously, you can do big damage. You can do you can have like a decent consistency, but you can like really do some big damage and with some different things. So definitely a pretty fun deck there, in my opinion. But yeah, I don't have too much to say about it. But overall, obviously a bit of a longer video. I want to really dive into the metagame, other than Phantom diving into the metagame. Pun very intended there. But yes, I do make bad puns, but I do hopefully make good content for you. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss my future content. I make content every day, and I really enjoy the Pokemon TCG and love different parts about it. But tell me down below in the comment section what your thoughts are on the stuff I talked about here. I really do want to hear your thoughts, and learn about the metagame, obviously by playing and stuff, but also just hearing your thoughts. But I hope you enjoyed. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell, all the good stuff. And as always, I'm excited to see you in the next video.